I once read a quote that went along the lines of, "Art is not what you see, but what you make others see," by Edgar Degas. Every culture has its own form of expressing and telling their cultural story, whether it be through paintings or arts and crafts, or even the act of verbally speaking the story itself. It allows for people to be proud of who they are and represent their culture. Hi, my name is Kimberly Diaz, and today I will be talking about my Salvadorian tote bag and the Salvadorian culture that it represents. My audience today is my cousin Karen, and she is the one recording the video. Out of all Central America, El Salvador is one of the smallest and most densest country that there is. El Salvador is unique as it does not have any Caribbean influences, unlike the other Central American countries around it. And this allows for El Salvador to stand out. El Salvador has a wide variety of arts and crafts, and these arts and crafts have been passed down for many, many years, many generations. In the blog El Salvador Info, it states that the arts and crafts of El Salvador represent the daily life that El Salvadorian people go through every single day. It represents the culture, and it also represents the traditions that go on in the country. And like I mentioned before, these have all been passed down through many generations and still continue to be passed on to this day. First, I will talk about how my tote bag represents my culture. Second, I will talk about how it is significant to me personally. And then finally, I will talk about how it is used within the culture. In October of 1979, all the way to 1992, there was a civil war in El Salvador. This civil war led to a lot of its states to become poor and in need of financial help. In order to make ends meet, the people would make arts and crafts like this tote bag, and they would make an honest living in order to support their families. People, even to this day, people still rely on making tote bags and arts and crafts to make that stable income, as there's not a lot of jobs or opportunities that can be given. My tote bag, even though I call it a tote bag, in El Salvador it is often called morales or matatas. But either way, it still serves the same purpose of allowing people to make an honest living of themselves and allow them to make really beautiful pieces of art. The tote bags are often used for tourism, and because of this, a lot of the vendors that make these tote bags, they make their tote bags to be very colorful and very bright, and they'll have very unique designs. They'll have everything that attracts the tourist eye. And bags can also be custom made. Although my bag isn't custom made, it is still very beautiful, but you can have your name imprinted on it if you ask the vendor to do it. Tote bags represent the hard work and dedication that Salvadorian people have in order to make an item that not only represents the beautiful culture that is El Salvador, but also make a beautiful piece of art. It gives people the artistic freedom to do what they want with their tote bag and express whatever story they are trying to tell. How do I personally identify with my tote bag? I personally identify with my tote bag because it really shows, again, it shows how hardworking and dedicated my people are. A lot of people may say like, oh, well, it's just a tote bag making thing, like it's not really a big deal. But to the people in El Salvador, it is a big deal. It's a very popular way of making an income. The tote bag also helped me appreciate the sacrifice that my parents made from leaving El Salvador to coming here to the United States in order for me to get a better future. Although I have never actually been to El Salvador because my passport hasn't been renewed, my dad does tell me that El Salvador has an amazing culture with amazing people, and the beaches are very beautiful. And he's always making sure that he brings something back from El Salvador just so I can appreciate the culture and know where I come from and know my roots. Um, and finally, how is the bag used? Well, it's pretty straightforward. The bag is used just like any other bag would be. You can put your personal belongings in there, and depending on the size of the bag, because there are different sizes, you can fit quite a lot of things. Like mine is a medium-sized bag, but it can fit a lot of things in there if I really wanted to put things in it. Um, to recap, today I have talked to you about the culture that my tote bag represents, how it is significant to me, and then how it is used within the culture. To end on a final note, I'm proud of being Salvadorian, and I appreciate my culture a lot. At first, when I was smaller, I didn't really have much of an appreciation for it, but now that I'm older and I know that this is what makes me me, I've learned that no matter where you are in life, it's always good to remember where your roots are. Um, it is also important to remember what your culture is because it makes you unique compared to other people. Just like this anonymous quote once said, no matter where life takes you, don't forget where you came from. Thank you.